Here on North Canterbury's Campus FM, it's a very great pleasure to have Anna Spence from the Ministry of Primary Industries in the studio this afternoon. Good afternoon, Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come in and see us. So Anna, you're with the Ministry of Primary Industries as a welfare coordinator in conjunction with the North Canterbury Rural Support Trust.
Yes.
Although you have a big area to cover, we talked about that, West Coast as well. Yep. So tell us, how can a lifestyle or small block owner prepare for the kind of summer I think we're going to have and a possible drought?
Well, the main thing that we're concerned about is actually the amount of food that owners have for their livestock or any animals they've got on their farms. What we recommend you doing really is making a feed plan. So a feed plan will take into conjunction the type of animals you've got, the age, the condition they're in, and also the weather, and then it'll create a plan for you so you can have enough feed or buy feed in if you need to, essentially. It's very property dependent, so there's no rule of thumb or this is how much you need for 3 sheep. So the best thing that we recommend is using a free feed planning service that there's got available. 2 companies, Beef and Lamb New Zealand and Dairy NZ, both have free feed planning services. 0800 Beef Lamb and 0800 for Dairy NZ, and you can call them. They'll chat with you and they'll identify the needs for your property, your animals, and discuss options with you and what's available. Sometimes you do need to buy in supplementary feed, and some of that feed you can get from other communities or people in the area. You may need to also contact a feed supplier, and the feed supplier, we do recommend, if you have to go that route, plan early, because COVID slowed everything down a bit this year, so make sure you plan in advance for that one.
Of course, yes, it's all this that COVID has made things even more difficult than it already is.
Yeah.
Now, what are the plans should lifestyle or small block owners think about coming into a summer or a drought season? Are there other things they need to consider?
Yeah, and it may seem very obvious, but I just would like to say it anyway. Shade and shelter. People often forget on properties, make sure you've got enough shelter for all your animals to get out of the heat, because just like us, they don't do well exposed like that. And also water. Make sure you've got enough water for yourself, your animals. And actually, a lot of people don't realise, but Fire and Emergency New Zealand, if you're on a rural block, will actually utilise your water supply too. So make sure you've got plenty of supply there. Another plan that we'd really recommend putting into place is actually an emergency plan. So we often have a fire plan for ourselves, but we never think about our animals really in it. Small, large, everything in between. So really think about it. With small animals, you often bundle them up, take them in the car with you if you have to evacuate during a fire. But large animals...
You're a bit hard to put the cows in the back of the car, isn't it?
It's a little bit harder, and a lot of people may not actually have the equipment required.
Yep.
And also, you may not have the time, right, to evacuate.
Of course, yes.
Definitely make a plan, discuss with your neighbours, because they might have a paddock that you could open up and let them into to get away from the fire. So definitely talk with your neighbours and make a plan with your family. Also, Fire and Emergency New Zealand also offers another great service, which is a free home assessment. So they'll come to your farm, have a look around, tell you what things you can get rid of to make it more fire safe, also help you with evacuation routes, and also make sure your fire engine can actually get into the building, because sometimes, or near the building should I say, because sometimes people don't think about that, and if it's not safe for the fireys, they won't come and help.
I guess about thinking ahead. There's a lot of planning ahead to do.
Yes, a lot of planning.
Yeah. So how can a lifestyle or small block owner reduce their feed requirements? Is there a way to do that?
It's not the best thing, but the only way really is to reduce the amount of animals you've got.
Okay.
So it's obviously not an option that everyone wants to do, but unfortunately sometimes we want to rescue everything, or we want 10 alpaca instead of 2, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just get in a bit over our heads. So the best thing to do really is actually sell those animals. Selling them is the best cost-effective way to do it. Do it early as well though. So don't wait until you're like, oh, I have not enough feed and they're really skinny, because that's again you won't get as much money for those things like that. And also there are local meat processing plants and other options if it really gets that bad. But again, we'd recommend selling them first. Naturally.
So the planning really needs to include perhaps a consideration of worst case scenario and working back from there, so that you're not you haven't got the livestock beyond your abilities to be able to take care of them.
Yeah, and I mean, the feed planning service, they'll be able to discuss that with you. Yeah. So they can be like, you've got a lot, you'll need to buy a lot of food in, and buying food in is actually very expensive. The feed is quite pricey. So they'll tell you all the options you've got, and they're really a really good service to use.
So it's a good service to perhaps do, in advance.
Yes.
It's not too late to do that planning now?
No, it's never too late to do the planning, because you always have, we've always got time to try to do what we can do. to, or do it now and we can actually make changes, you know.
Sure.
There's so many options and so many people that can help. And a lot of people, you know, your neighbour might want to buy a couple of your cattle or whatever you've got floating around that you can't look after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people should be aware that there is help there. All they have to do is ask for it.
Yes, absolutely.
So who should a lifestyle small block owner contact if they need support or have any questions they're concerned about?
Yeah. Well, there's actually lots of options, which is really great. A really good one, you know, a friendly ear, they'll point you in the right direction if they can't help you, would be Rural Support Trust.
Yep.
0800 Rural Help. Really good source of information, and they can, as I say, assist you with a whole lot of things. We've also got Federated Farmers, which is 0800 Farming. The two businesses, Beef and Lamb and Dairy NZ, that I mentioned before, also can give you that advice.
Awesome.
But also don't forget, don't go, you know, if you don't want to talk to a stranger, talk to your neighbours, talk to your farmers in your area. Your local vet has a lot of information, so go chat with your vet about it if you want to go there first. But don't feel too overwhelmed because there's so much information out there, and just give up, you know, answer.
Yeah, the help is there for the asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, that's about all we've got time for, Anna. But Anna Spence, thank you for coming in and having a chat with us this afternoon.
And thank you for having me.
That's right, Anna Spence from MPI Animal Welfare Coordinator. And you have a very Merry Christmas.
Yes, and you too.
Thank you, Anna. Back to the music here at Compass FM.